Yeah. I'm here.
Won't take hours or anything, but just okay. So the state of the meta, the open beta, the state of the open beta, monsters. What do you think?
So I feel like overall there are what two predominant archetypes. There's kind of consume, and then there's weather.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything else really,
No.
and that makes sense. That was like how it was before. Um, so I feel like just overall consume can be strong, but weather is the thing that you're going to see the most because like just weather everywhere. You can be like spawning wild hunts hounds pulling up frost free from your deck, which gives them like that's such amazing thinning. Like that's the kind of thinning that and that monsters never had before, right?
Right.
Monsters just would have musters, and now they have ways to thin out special cards from their decks, which just makes them so much more efficient. I feel like monsters are still strong. They're not. I don't think they're quite as ridiculously like over the top as they were like last patch with their consume, but that's healthy for the game. Like still a strong deck. What do you reckon?
I like what you just said. So I agree on everything you just said. I definitely agree. I think that putting Ekamaras as the resilient units that still eat, I think is was brilliant to keep that, to keep the keep, so to speak, in monsters, but make you have to really earn it and make you have to really tech for it. And I think you got to use Ekamaras anyway, and generally Ekamaras were what you used to keep at the end of the round, so that really didn't change. Um, I like the fact there are only two archetypes that I see. I see consume and I see weather. Now I see weather in two different archetypes. I see weather in Dagon and
Mm-hmm.
Eridan. Eridan seems to be much more of an offensive bursty type of weather, and Dagon appears to be more of a controlly type of weather. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with that. That's pretty spot on. Can you go into a bit more detail about why that's the case, though? That's
Yeah,
quite interesting.
perfect. So in terms of the weather, so what Eridan allows you to do, a lot of people will play is they'll play a Wild Hunt Hound, and then as they're building up their weather, what they'll do is they'll use Eridan's ability to get more points and to summon a Wild Hunt Navigator. That Wild Hunt Navigator will copy that Wild Hunt Hound, thereby giving you a 5, 8, 13 point burst onto the scene with your card and spreading weather from 1 to 2 rows, which makes it more oppressive, thins out the deck, and gives you just this nice burst. Whereas with Dagon, you're generally running a lot of removals, hitting Dagon. I see Dagon a lot with Foglets. I see Dagon a lot with a Fog Machine kind of build where
Mm.
he summons Fogs at the last minute for a nasty little synergy there.
Yeah,
Um, but
running Necker Warriors as well
Necker
for
Warriors is
copying Hogwarts, right?
exactly right. So,
Um,
yeah.
One thing I wanted to highlight though, because I think that was completely spot on with all the burst coming from and tempo coming from Eridan's hero power. But I really want to point out by spawning the Navigator, it pulls a Wild Hunt Hound out of deck, right? Which is great, free thin, and then that will then pull a Breaking Frost again. So throwing Eridan out gives you a huge tempo swing as well as two free thins, which is so much. That's incredible.
It is. It's very powerful. And then you could also, but what I like about it, I made a Wild Hunt Weather deck that I haven't taken on ranked. I just played ranked with Skellige, but I like the fact that you have a little bit of diversification later on. You could use it, depending on how the round's going, to pull a rider out, which would give
Mm-hmm.
you a little bit of keep there going into the last round. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a rider already, you could use the navigator to pull out another rider. So it gives you a little bit of versatility in that build as opposed to Dagon, just
Mm.
you're just hitting weather.
Yeah, personally, I feel like Eridan's kind of the new Dagon in the sense that like there's so much
Hmm.
tactical flexibility there.
Yeah, I
You
like
can,
that.
like if you haven't got something on board, you can just play like say the Wild Hunt Hound and just pull out a Frost out of your deck.
Mm.
Or if you do have something on board, a Navigator is almost always best. But again, if you don't have a Navigator, oh god, I have or say I already use the Wild Hunt Rider, I can just spawn one out of my hero power. I literally have complete flexibility with it. Of course, there are some weaknesses, and it's not quite as good as the old Aegon, but it's kind of following that same vein, which is, I think, a really nice design choice to make Eridan more viable without just being a powered card.
I love that idea. Tactical flexibility. I love that. I love that coin. No, I totally agree. I like that. It does give you tactical flexibility, and he does give you a chance to do with the old Dagon. So the old Dagon, what he was referring to, if you didn't play the closed beta, is Dagon allowed you to pull weather like it did, but the difference was you could pull out a clear skies, or first light, excuse me, that you could then use to hit a rally. So you had a little more offensive flexibility and defensive flexibility with Dagon of old.
Just a ridiculous card. I mean, like,
It was.
honestly, I think that it really speaks to how strong that card was. That, like, I mean, look at its current form, 7 power. That's how much that, like, if you don't have clear skies, they've had to give it 7 power as a body to really justify it. Like,
That's a good
that's
point.
one of the
That's
highest
a good
strength
point.
cards
Yeah.
in the game. Like, for the leader as well. Like, it's one of the highest strength leaders in the game, but they now it doesn't have a clear skies attached. It's like, well, sorry, first light attached. It's like, well, I guess we have to give it a really good body.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I like that. Okay, so that's interesting. So we didn't get a chance to talk about this actually. What do you think of the change of leaders just in general? Now we kind of had the 7 strength. Do you like the fact that they're now actual cards with point values, or do you like them the old passive idea better?
I can see why they've gone for it, but I feel like right now there's a problem with balancing and game design. Like, okay, so this is the thing. I really like it in the sense that it's given them additional design space, right? Because say they wanted to keep Dagon as it used to be, now then they could, like, make Dagon a 2 strength or something, or they thought that Francesca was less strong of a hero power than Bruver, then they could just drop Bruver's strength and they can increase Francesca's strength. Great. So it gives them, like, a lot more design space, which is by itself, like, probably justifies doing that, and also has the added benefit of, like, the hero power is never dead, so the card will always give some points. I like the idea, but there are some problems right now in its implementation. For example, like orders. Like, I don't think orders is a bad idea, but right now, for example, like, just to skip to Nilfgaard for a second, like, every single competitive decent deck will run 3 golems.
You have to, yeah.
It's just like, you're basically saying, if you don't run them, you're sacrificing 3 free thin, you're sacrificing 9 tempo power. Like, if you go up against this in the mirror, and guess what? Like, you're going to be facing quite a lot of Nilfgaard at the top of the, like, as you're climbing and at the top. If you're running Nilfgaard without, and they're running Nilfgaard with, you're going to lose every single game, pretty much.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's the problem. That's what I find oppressive right now. If you're running a double planet protected deck, you're always going to run Saskia and Roach, and you're pretty much always going to run Saskia anyway, just for the tempo.
Right.
Orders is a little bit like, it's a good idea, but its implementation is currently being oppressive to non-orders strategies, which is unhealthy for the game, sadly.
That's interesting. We're definitely gonna get in more. I like that. I mean, I agree with you 100%. By the way, but we don't have orders on monsters, so let's keep on.
Oh, one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing is, the new Solano Harpies are just so good.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So this card went from not really seeing a lot of play to, oh my God, they are great. That's Harpy. I'm sorry, I went the wrong one. Sorry. I went to the wrong one. Went to the wrong Harpy.
Right.
There we go.
Deep breath, man.
Yeah, right. Solano Harpy, right? So if you played The Witcher 2, did you play The Witcher 2, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so if you play The Witcher 2, it was a really cool part of the story. As a matter of fact, that orb, or that, the viewer that he's sitting on, I don't know what you'd really call it. You put dreams in there, and then it would show the dream, right? It's a really cool part for me when I see this card. I remember The Witcher 2, and I don't know if you feel the same way. I'm like, this is just a cool part of the story.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Side
Yeah.
note. I just like this part.
I agree.
So yes. So of the cards let's go bronzes first, since that's a bronze. What card is now changed for the best and then changed for the worst?
Changed for the best.
Has to be the Harpies,
bronzes.
right?
Changed for the best. Oh, you mean changed for the best as in like has been made stronger, as opposed to like what's best for the meta.
Exactly. That's made
Okay,
stronger.
the card that got buffed the most has to be Solano Harpy. There's
Yes.
no question about it. There's just no question about it.
There
Oh,
isn't. There is.
I was gonna say like if it was like change for the best for the state of the meta, it probably was Ekabara, but like, um,
That's
but
interesting. Yeah.
for the strength of the card, it has to be Selena Harpy. I mean, that card used to be basically almost unplayable.
Yeah.
Now Selena Harpy is like the most playable bronze.
Do you think? Do you think it's broken?
Um, I think it's a little bit overpowered. I don't think it's broken. Like, broken makes me think like old Siri Dash Scoia'tael. That
Right.
makes that's like, I mean, well, old Siri Dash Scoia'tael was basically like 60% of like top decks.
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's quite at that level, so I'm not going to claim it's broken, but it is too strong.
It is too strong. I don't think it's broken. I agree. One of the new cards they introduced for the open beta was Wild Hunt Hound, and that has become almost a staple in every, well, especially weather. Obviously, it's a staple in any weather monster deck. It's just super strong. I see it in even
It's too,
consume decks.
I think it has 1 point too many. Probably it should be a 4 or 3 even. Like a 3 is playable. Like I mean, you spawn a weather from your deck for free. Like like come on.
It's pretty
Like I
strong.
mean, okay, look at it this way. Look at it this way. Think about like old Elven Mercenary, right? Old Elven Mercenary is 4 body and you pull a random special from your deck. Like I could definitely see. I mean, that was overpowered, and that could have been like. And they decided to go with a -2 strength thing, disloyal, but with the ability to pull back. I feel like Walton Hound is a good bit weaker than that, but like like right now it's like it could be it could be a 2 strength body, and I would play that.
Interesting. I think it's yeah. I agree. It's vastly overpowered. It's vastly overpowered. Wild Hunt Warriors didn't change too much. Still strong.
I
Um,
think the key point is that they were changed, quote unquote, but they were changed due to the change to weather, right?
right.
Like they're still used to like hit things that are being hit by weather. So their role is the same, but their effect is different.
Here's something that no one really talks about that I haven't seen anyone mention. What? Why don't we have any weather resilient units anymore? Weather is
It's
everywhere.
I think it's because like they wanted to, in the same way they wanted to make it a par for all the factions with things like no faction passives, and and I feel like weather resilience would appear in monsters so much that it would make it like just the first choice for any kind of starter deck for sure. Like part of the thing that they're thinking about is how to not to make it oppressive for new players as well. And if guess what, if it was like where monsters had most of weather resilient stuff, you would see nothing but monsters at the bottom level like it used to be.
That's true. That's
So
just true.
it's to promote deck diversity, and also they wanted to make weather agile and flexible and all that sort of stuff. So that's why they went for one-sided weather in conjunction with no weather resilience, which makes almost no sense sometimes because like, you know, Wild Hunt Warrior is getting frosted to death. Hmm.
I agree. That's what I was saying. Ekamaras are just a great card. I think that was a great answer to the closed beta problems of monsters having too much resilient carryover.
Yeah, I mean the problem was that not not that they had too much carryover, but the fact that it was almost impossible to disrupt their carryover, and you'd have to play around it so hard that you could not
Mm,
play ideally, like like otherwise ideally,
right.
because you go any deeper, they could just make a bigger keep.
That's a good point.
Um, so the issue now, like the thing that's great now is that by assigning it specifically to Ekamara, that's vulnerable to all sorts of things like Scorch, and you don't have a keep. Marjoram, and your keep is gone. Like you banish that Ekamara. Like it makes a lot of sense to actually deal with monsters keeps in that way. Like
Yeah.
take away the passive and give it to specific units, because then you actually have counterplay. Like before, you could be like, I'm gonna set up a 20 strength Ekamara, and I'm gonna set up a 23 strength Ekamara. Well, if you scorch the 23, I'll have the 20, so have fun with that.
Yep. No, you're right. You're right. All right. I like it. I'm looking through the list. We got Followits didn't really change too much. Neckers. I like the fact that they're 2 strength now instead of 3. I think that was a little change, but I think it's good.
Mm. Yeah. Does it like for that effect? It doesn't need to be any stronger than the two.
Right. Arrakis, Ekamaras, Harpies. Now this is one thing. Harpies, I think, are going to be a card that later on, and I'm calling it now, is going to be in the next couple of expansions. If there's an expansion or set, this is going to be one of the stronger cards in Monsters. I think they're setting up a Death Wish archetype or Death Rattle in Hearthstone. I think this is a precursor to it. I think this is going to be a good card eventually.
I feel like it depends. I feel like I think it depends on the other cards. Like, of course it does.
Right.
Like
Right. Exactly.
that's just a ridiculous thing to say on the surface. But this is what I mean. Um, Triggering the Death Wish of adjacent units is fundamentally a combo orientated
Yeah.
approach, right?
Yeah.
And harpies at 3 strength are so low strength that it completely depends on the Death Wishes available in the game. Like, if the
Exactly.
Death Wishes are really strong, then by all means you can run these. But if they're like, kind of the stuff that we see in the game right now, then probably it won't even be worth playing because 3 strength body to trigger 2 Death Wishes, that's disruptible. Like, if they kill the thing and just proper Death Wish, I mean, how strong would this card be if, like, you need to spend 3 turns setting up and some Death Wishes that were kind of a bit meh?
Exactly. That's the problem right now. I tried to make one because I was like, oh, I'm excited. I like
Also,
combo Death Wish. It's just, yeah, you combo and you make at the best 2 3 3s or 2 2 2s if you get the Golem.
boom,
Yeah, and
done.
you're down 50 points to Nilfgaard, who can spam 37 points in a turn.
Yeah. Or you're against, like, double thunder protector things and they
Yeah.
like, epidemic everything, zap epidemic,
Yeah.
scorch.
So
Like,
it's
what are you death wishing?
exactly,
Like,
exactly. Or a bear. Bear swipes the eggs as soon as they hit the board. And you're just like, oh well,
ridiculous.
shit.
Oh, so just as an aside, I think it's absolutely like, I don't think Savage Bear is like overpowered in the sense that, like, it's oppressive or anything. But no, okay, so that's the thing. It's not overpowered, but it is oppressive. Okay, Harpy X instant killed.
Yeah.
Wait, why? I don't. Why does it need to do that? Also, did you notice Yennefer's Chironex and Unicorn instantly get sniped by
Yes.
Savage Bear?
Yes,
Why?
I played someone. Funny story, just side story. I played someone to have Savage Bears down, and they played that combo, and as soon as it swiped, they were trying to do a Chironex. As soon as it swiped it, insta quit. It was just like, I'm done. Like, they were so mad. I was always funny. I don't know why they're not gold
I
anymore.
really, I don't see the need for Savage Bears to counter a gold.
Right.
Just
I agree.
like, I can, like, if it's played from hand, sure, just hit it for 1, cool, no problem. If it's spawned, I don't think that should hit. Like, I mean, everything that, like, most of the things that spawn are low strength already. Like, it doesn't need to counter those things.
I don't know if Doc is still here. Doc, welcome. Yeah, we started. I tried to message you when you were on that we were starting the show. If you're still here, Doc, what's up? Doc Van Nostrum. I think she left. Not sure. But yeah, she has a lot of opinions. Yeah, so one of the new cards to the set. We're going to get on Skelligan. That's going to be fun because you and I are going to. It's going to be fun. That's why I put, if you notice on the screen, I have a bear hiding his face. Because I'm hoping desperately they do not nerf my beautiful Skellige. It's such a great place right now. I hope nothing happens. Nerf everything else. Leave Skellige alone. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. I love this Wild Hunt Navigator card. I think I have the animated on the screen right now. I think the animated, first of all, is god beautiful. It's just beautiful. And they just did an amazing job with all the animated cards as an aside. But this is a great card. This is a great card to promote more Wild Hunt synergy.
I mean, like, it's basically like their Reaver Scout, right? Or their Reaver Scout for half of their archetypes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really strong. I mean, if Reaver Scout works at like 2 strength, then this is a really strong card, especially considering you can pull a Wild Hunt Hound, which will then pull another Frost. Like, I mean, this card is erring on overpowered, but it's not overpowered because it's a very faction specific thing. It's a very archetype specific thing, I think. Like, so it's okay. Sure.
So now we get to ghouls. Ghouls didn't really change that much.
It's like the same, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the same. Vrans are the same, except they immediately eat something, which is annoying if you're playing spies. But
they trade 2 power for it. So it's still good.
Yeah, it's still good.
It's still playable, but the main problem is that it can't be kept without using Adrenaline Rush, and B, it has less energy with Behemoth because Behemoth now, doesn't do that whole thing of staying there forever at like the same health. They
Thank
now lose
God.
one strength.
I love the change to Behemoth. I think that brings it in line very well.
Yeah, I feel like actually I completely agree it needed to be changed.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to see this card played like in this current state though, which means that I think they've over nerfed it.
I don't hear what you're saying. Okay, so here's Arrakis Behemoth. Arrakis Behemoth. It loses its power for each time it spawns, which is great. I love it. I don't play monsters though, so I'm not gonna be unbiased here. Just
Yeah,
not. Just fucking
I
hate
feel
monsters.
like the thing is, from in my mind, they could have actually even kept it at 6 strength and had 2 armor
Yeah. Okay,
and
that's better.
and
Yeah.
and, and lose one every time. Like
Yeah.
the current state is that you don't have as many ridiculous number of consumes as you used to because like for one thing, it's now Unseen Elder that does that, right? It's no longer Karin in every single deck. So you're not gonna get like the crazy tempo and like you can't just sit there and hold Karin in hand until the last play or like the end of a round or something, right? Whereas Unseen Elder, like there's a lot more reason with things like orders and people playing tempo on the board to use Unseen Elder early. So I feel like Arrakis Behemoth could be like have 6 strength and lose one every single time. Like it doesn't need to be this week.
I agree. I'll take that. Necro Warrior does the exact same as it always has. I love the animated artwork. I think that's pretty awesome, actually. Ice Giants, new edition, pretty cool. Pretty strong. I think they're in a good place.
I don't know. I feel like they're a little bit subpar. I feel like in in a Frost archetype because of Wild Hunt Warriors, Wild Hunt Hounds and Navigators, like the run spots are actually really tight. Like I would only run one of in any deck,
Yeah,
and,
of course.
and in that sense, it's like it has that sort of silver slot effect.
Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I think 10 strength. And we talked about the Solano Harpies as being an amazing card. Wild Hunt Warriors are kind of the same. Talked about that. Wild Hunt Hounds talked about them. Chort as being a playable card from behind. I don't see anyone playing this card.
This card's terrible.
I don't see anybody playing it.
This card is just terrible. Like, I mean, why would you play this instead of Selena Harpy?
Yes, exactly.
About that.
No,
Like, look at the two different cards and like be like, okay, this is a 6 or a 10. Selena Harpy is always a 7 +6 next round, or more if they target them. Like,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Selena Harpy blows Chort out of the water. Like, Chort doesn't even give more power straight up unless you're behind. Like, what is this card?
And then speaking of what is this card, Earth Elemental used to be a silver, and now it's a bronze. It has a shield when it comes in, and when it dies, it spawns two lesser Earth Elementals. It's underwhelming. It's just no one. It's just
It,
underwhelming.
it's playable, but at the same time, it gets blown out of the water by Selenium Harpy, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's just
I mean, that's it. Selenium Harpy is so good right now that it's oppressing other bronzes. I mean, you run Selenium Harpy in every single monster deck. You can, and you probably will, because it's so good.
Whoa. Um. Yeah. No, wow. I'm gonna. Yeah. No. Ancient Foglet didn't change anywhere on the board. Damage enemy by 2. Brave deal 9. Wyvern. I don't see many people playing Wyverns.
It's playable. I mean, that's what it's an 8
It's
base,
stronger than what
and
it was. Yeah.
it's a lot stronger than what it used to be, I think, and also it's a lot stronger. Well, okay, it's stronger than it used to be, a bit, and I also feel like it's just superior to Chort.
Right.
Like it's good. Like I think it's playable. I think it gets suppressed by other cards, but it's playable.
Yeah. I don't see Wyvern being a huge deal. We got I love the Wild Hunt Riders. I have all 3 in animated.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I think
Lucky.
they're awesome. Beautiful card. Great. I love having resilience if you're behind. What do you think about Wild Hunt Riders?
Um, they're good. I feel like the moment that you get into a meta where like there's Gigny all the time, it's just gonna be like, well, these aren't playable. But yeah, like they're good. Like they provide more than one kind of threat. They have resilience. They have a trio thing. You don't want to let your opponent have them on the board, and you really don't want to lose to your opponent when they haven't played any of their Wild Hunt Riders, and you don't want to lose round one to them, and they can just play their Wild Hunt Riders for free in round two and just laugh at you.
Right.
But that's awful. But it gives so many different kinds of threats that they're a good card, but will be useless if Gigny's in every deck. Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Gigny destroys them. Friends and Flame is a trio. Griffin, same card as it was. Didn't change. Archgriffin in the public test realm was incredibly broken, as whenever anyone played a weather, it would just appear from your deck, and it was broken. So it's still pretty
Surprise.
good. Right. It was terrible. Drowner, a really cool card, really cool looking card. Now it becomes more of a pull, which is very cool. I see a lot of it being played in really good, really high level monster weathers to pull people into their frost. I like this card.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going for a weather deck, you should run Drowners. Like it allows you to be more efficient with your weather options. And actually, one of the things that's really funny is that it puts a lot of psychological pressure on your opponents because they're like, oh crap, no.
Exactly. You can't get away from the weather. You just can't.
Yeah.
Also, if you're running again, if you're playing Skellige, a lot of people, monster weather, have gotten really smart. They'll pull a Brockvar Hunter away from the row with weather.
Mm-hmm.
So it
also
works.
really good for pulling stuff away from Wild Boar.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good card. It's a really good bronze, actually.
Sorry, hold on.
That's right.
Oh man. Can't type.
Right? Oh.
All right, there you go. So there we go. So that's monsters. Any final words on monsters?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we covered everything. So there we go. That was bronze. Shit, we haven't gotten to silvers yet. Silvers. The Monster Nest. I think we might just do one of these shows like at a time because I think there's a lot to cover and unpack.
Oh, no doubt.
Monster Nest. What do you think about Monster Nest?
I have never seen it played. I can't really comment, but
Exactly.
I suspect it's underpowered. I suspect it's underpowered.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so what are the necrophages? Bronze necrophages. You get Drowner. You get, and it doesn't seem random actually. So it might be you get a choice, right?
I don't know.
So you can spawn Foglets. What? So what else?
I mean, a Drowner. I know for
Arrakis.
sure.
Arrakisai. You can spawn.
Yeah.
Ghoul. Arrakis, obviously, and Foglets. That's what you can spawn. So
I mean,
I didn't say random. So.
If you could, I mean, that's kind of random, but I mean, maybe make it a 3, like more than one of. That'd be cool. I don't know. Just.
I don't know. Spawn a bronze necrophagus. Like, it definitely couldn't be if it was a bronze. The problem is that it would need to be random to justify the effect. Because if it allowed you to spawn like one of your choice and it was a bronze, then you would just run them in place of the necrophages, right? You wouldn't run neckers. Sorry, like fog. You would just spawn them with monster nests.
Yeah.
So the effect, sadly, is it couldn't be a bronze. But like at the same time, if it was spawn a random bronze necrophage or insectoid, then that would be too weak to actually run. You'd have to make it like boosted by 6 or something. It's in an awkward place right now.
Yeah. Let's see. Grave Hag does pretty much the same thing she used to do. She hadn't really changed.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, she's weaker because like there's less consume flying around. Like, Karin doesn't do 3 consumes anymore, for example.
yeah. Water Hag became the same as it's one of these special Meiji cards where you have 3 choices. It's your one of choice, and it has to be an auto include in every deck now.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it just has to
I,
be.
I think you can just about get away with it in monsters because, like, I mean, it's monsters. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, rain. You spawn a rain, which is nice.
yeah,
Um,
the other ones you definitely want to run though, like Death Mold and Van Hamar and stuff. You want to definitely run,
Van Hamar is easily the most broken. He's so strong,
and that's
so
because
strong.
like Stammelford is so
Yeah,
good now.
dude, so strong. Nithril has gotten a big. I mean, almost he's in every weather deck as he should be. He's fucking a beast with armor.
Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting. Like, I mean, and one of the things I find is interesting is that he's kind of an amplifier, right? So like it kind of makes sense that he has a lower base strength with armor, but like actually he still dies to a thunder, so it's not like he's he's actually easier to remove than his previous 8 strength iteration.
I agree. I agree, but I don't see a lot of people running thunders.
Yeah, that's a method decision, right?
Yeah. So he's just kind of strong.
Just
Uh,
strong, yeah.
Catachan is really strong, especially against Skellige.
Yeah.
Really, really strong
So
in Skellige.
I mean, as I said, like the main reason you're running so much of Catacan is because Skellige is on the rise. But yeah, otherwise it's like actually what, arguably weaker than its previous iteration.
Right. Yeah. Fiend, I don't see a lot of people playing Fiend, although of the lock units, it's the best because not only does it lock it, it halves it. So
Yeah,
that's pretty nice.
I kind of feel like I've seen Fiend, and I think that the locks are gonna be you're gonna see a lot more of the locks because of Mork Morgan stuff.
Oh yeah, I get hit with it a lot. I get hit with Fiends a lot.
Yeah, like locks. I feel like are like okay. So the thing is, the problem with D Shackles in the past is that the lock came with 0 tempo. These silvers that come with a lock are gonna be in short, are gonna be in short supply and high demand because of the fact that they can do both. They
Yep.
can do something on top of just locking.
Yep. And you need that, especially in the buff meta. I like that name.
Yeah, exactly.
Giant Toad. I don't see anybody really playing Giant Toad too much.
Still good. I mean,
It's draw. Yeah.
I think that's a silver competitiveness issue rather than anything else. Like, I mean, the fact that you can cycle out useless cards and throw more useful cards, golds included, is just great.
All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. Crones are the Crones.
Crones are crones.
Crones are
Crones are
Crones. They're
crones.
the same thing. Fire Elemental. Now Fire Elemental is basically the old Gontro Dim. Summons 3 units, does 3 damage, 12 strength gold, relative
Uh,
strength.
that has
Uh,
a brave now, so
as Brave, yeah.
I'm not sure whether the brave triggers before or after the fire elementals do that
I
thing.
have
Because
only seen it played and it's never triggered before.
yeah, if it does it after, sorry, if it does it after, it's kind of weak. But if it does it before, it can be quite strong.
Right. I don't know. I don't see a lot of it play. Shadow, it's another one where it triggers Death Wish, but there's not a lot of good Death Wishes to trigger.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like they're just. I kind of feel like they were just like, well, we don't have going to a dim anymore, so let's just whack it on a. Let's just whack a card there and not really think through exactly how to make this card work.
They're just bored. Just put a Shadow. Shadow, go. Uh,
Uh,
so, yeah, it's just not played. Jotun is a very strong card. It's a nice little pull and damage.
mhm.
It's decent.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting kind of reverse Geralt Ard sort of thing, which is
Yeah.
it's strong. It's actually pretty strong if you think about what Geralt Ard is. Like, it's I think this is arguably stronger than Geralt Ard. Like, I mean, Ard you can move 5 adjacent units, but who plays around Jotun and who plays around like
Yeah.
Ard? Everyone just positions to play around like Skellige Storm and stuff.
Yep. And it groups them up real nice for Skellige Storm.
Right. So it's just I don't know. I think people aren't taking the luxury of playing around adjacent enemies, and they play around direct weather because that's what they have to play around.
Yeah. Manticore is nobody plays it.
Yeah, it's too weak for. I mean, it's a reverse Commander's Horn. So I guess, but it's too weak to justify the silver. I mean, like Arrakis Venom is better.
Yeah, it's just not nobody plays it. Frightener is an interesting card. I see a lot of people playing a Frightener on turn one, just to draw a card, and I don't. I haven't really seen a real. I mean, it's a monster spy card, so it's good for that. They needed it, but I don't really see that it's other. It's just a good card.
Yeah, I mean it's a spy, and it's a
Yeah,
premium. Its
yeah,
premium is the best. Mm.
and it breaks up. It breaks up if you're row stacking. It breaks up the row stack.
I mean, I like it in the sense that like you can like it's nice against stuff like Wild Meme of the Sea. If Wild Meme is everywhere, then that'd be a nice thing to do.
Yeah,
I like the fact that like units are frightened away from it though. That's hilarious.
yeah, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. Okay, so that's the silver monsters. Now we go into gold monsters, and the former leader, once known as Gels, is a fucking strong gold.
Yeah, I mean I mean you can read that effect for yourself. I think everyone can tell that's a strong gold.
I mean, my
So
God, yeah,
I think we can move on.
yeah, a gold that summons another gold, or a silver. It just yeah. Caretaker's the same, and it's a beautiful card again.
Can
The
I
Bane, huh?
can I just point out that like the tag permadeath doesn't exist anymore?
Yes,
So you can resurrect anything from your opponent's graveyard.
yes.
That's that's a big buff. Like
Caretaker is
that's a
really brutal against Skellige. I hate this card. I hate this card more than you could possibly know. I hate this card.
yeah. You know, it's a big buff actually. Like even though it lost 2 strength, that this card's been buffed.
Yes, it's an amazing card. Woodland Spirit is still strong. Does the same thing. It's just really strong.
Yeah, I mean
It's a good card. It's
it's
puts
hard to
fog.
argue with that. Like okay, like I mean okay, so let's just point out what happened to this card. So originally it was a 7+3+ fog for Foglets. Then they were like, okay, actually the fog applying to the opponent's side as well, it's just too much. So let's just change it so that we're gonna give it 1 extra strength and then we're gonna take away the fog from the enemy side. Okay, that seems better. But then no people are only gonna run it with Foglets, so that's a bit shit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take away 3 strengths from its 2 strengths from its original value, and basically do the same thing and don't spawn fog on your side because fog is now one-sided. So they basically gave it the old effect and took two strength off of it. Yeah, and it's still playable. It's still really quite good.
Yes. Yeah. Enough said on that one. Karen Thier is a really good pull and group. It's just a really good pull back into Frost.
Why would you not run this in the weather deck?
Yeah,
It's just
you have
it's just
to.
really good.
I mean, it's just another pull of weather. Old
It's just
Spear
good.
Tip, I don't see as much, but he is very strong still.
Yeah, I think the point is like, okay, at least it's whew, at least it's not an entire row smacking for like 10 billion damage.
Right.
Um, but I mean, it basically has the same effect, but now it takes gold. Like basically,
Yep.
it doesn't really change much. Yeah. Oh, also one of the nice things is that you can't like I mean, okay, that's monster passive, but you can't just keep him into the next round as well, where like you can just completely oppress like Scoia'tael range row or something.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Succubus, I just beautiful card. I have the animated card on the screen. It's just a beautiful card. It's a very strong card, especially if you play it against Skellige. Again, I hate to say it, but it's been a very. I don't see it used a lot, but it would be very good against Morkvarg.
It's yeah, actually that's worth consideration.
It
Huh.
just is. I mean, it's just I always fear this card because there's really nothing as a Skellige player I could do against it. It would just take Morkvarg, and then you'd be able to use it every round, and it's
Hmm.
pretty nasty. Uh,
That's not
yeah.
interesting.
Draug, deploy the damage rate enemy repeats, so it's the same thing, although he did get a buff in strength a little bit, so it's a 13 strength gold relative strength.
Yeah, Drogue is playable, but I feel like it. I mean, was it like all the archetypes, right? Consume, they're better consume
Right.
like golds. Weather, there's definitely better golds. I mean, it's something exactly what I was saying like back in one of the other episodes that went off the dark. This is one of the damage specific ones. Like they just all does damage and points. If we're in that kind of meta, then sure. But like right now, it doesn't fit either archetype.
Yeah. What about Imlerith?
Imlerith, I've seen that played.
Pretty strong.
It's pretty good. I mean,
It's
if
16
you're gonna
point
run,
gold.
if you're gonna run Frost with Walnut Hounds, why wouldn't you run this card?
Yeah, I mean it's a 12 or 16 point goal. That's pretty big.
I mean, the thing is that things that you're damaging by 8 are likely going to get removed. They're likely, they're going to be really important targets all the time.
Yep.
And if it's under Frost, then it's going to get damaged for 9, really, at least, because guess what? At the beginning of their turn, it takes 1 damage, so that's a loss.
This is the card that I don't see a lot of play, and I don't understand why it wouldn't. This is a 24 point gold.
Uh,
If it needs a 6
Karen?
strength card, which almost pretty much every card is 6 strength, it's 24 point gold.
Sorry, what? Karen?
Karen, I'm sorry, Karen.
Um. The,
I mean, you're losing. The problem is you're losing hand advantage.
So well, yeah, so you lose card advantage, but like, so you trade a unit in your hand for 8 power. So it's basically -1 CA for 18 for 8 power, extra power. So that's about 18 strength gold because it is 18 strength gold because the other card would have given that power, right?
Right. So if you eat a 6
18
strength,
strength
24.
gold, -1 CA, and you basically okay. So the problem is that Karen is basically a round 3 winner.
Right.
If you use it in round 1 or 2, you go -1 card advantage to make that happen. That can be quite bad. So that's the problem. Like you're forced to playing it last. It's like the old Ceres. Ceres in Queen's Guard was quite unpopular for a long time because it's a card you basically want to hold for last round, and you can't use it before because you don't really want to Sigdrifa. You don't really want to Sigdrifa the Ceres because you just rather Sigdrifa the Queen's Guards and other units, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem with Kane right now. It's a last round, maybe even last turn play. It gives a lot of points, but that's not all you're looking for in a card game. In card game, it's sometimes better to have more flexibility in your cards, so cards you can use at other points in the game and get value from them, and not just being forced to sit there with hoping to get a last turn play with a specific card.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It's just a strong. It is, but now you break it down. Yeah, I guess it's not as strong as when I looked at it. I was like, man, this is just a good card. Okay.
It's a really good last round play. It's a really good last round play. But then, yeah, I mean, monsters aren't currently playing like that. They're generally playing a bit more like I want to make long rounds happen against you and just get stuff going. It's Kaewin kind of doesn't. Kaewin lends itself well to like I'm gonna just have a gigantic round 3 and seem to guarantee winning round 1, basically. I think, which is a weird condition.
It's true. It's a good point. Good point. Okay. Well, I think that's it for our Monster State of the Union. I think that we're going to end the YouTube video here. I think we kind of get a good breakdown on monsters in general, and then we're going to do, I think, a series of Going After Dark State of the Faction series. That's okay with Codexel.